Hi, my name is Lily, and this is the most confusing and maybe the most important story of my life. Oh, and if you're learning English, turn on the subtitles and repeat some parts with me. It'll really help with your pronunciation, and the more you hear and repeat, the more natural everything will feel. Agreed? I was 17 years old, in high school in a small town in the United States. I was always invisible, not exactly shy, but people just passed by me as if I were part of the background. And as much as I said I didn't care, I cared. A lot. That feeling of walking into a room and no one noticing, of posting a picture and no one liking it, of having so much to say, but no one asking. Until one day I created a new profile on a social network. I used someone else's name. I used a photo of a girl who went to another school. Someone beautiful, confident, the complete opposite of me. It wasn't a malicious plan. Actually, I just wanted to know what it was like to be noticed. What I didn't expect was for someone to fall in love with this version of me, and that was the beginning of the problem. It all started with a notification, a direct message from someone named Ethan. Just, "Hey, I saw your profile. You seem different, simple, short, but different from anything I had ever received." He didn't say hot or comment on the photo. He said different, and that caught me. I replied, and to my surprise, he responded almost immediately. We talked for an hour, then two. The next day, he sent me good morning at 7 a.m. and then good night at 10 p.m. And so, in just a few days, Ethan became a part of my routine. But there was one problem. He thought he was talking to someone else. To Ava, the beautiful, confident girl in the photo. And the more we connected, the more I disconnected from reality. I wanted to tell the truth. But every time I thought about it, that fear came up. What if he hates me? What if all of this disappears? I knew I wasn't being fair. But it was also the first time someone really wanted to listen to me. He asked how my day was. He laughed at my bad jokes. We shared music, talked about college, dreams, the fear of not being good enough. It was like he saw who I really was, even without knowing who I truly was. And that made me want to keep going. But one night, he sent a message that changed everything. "Ava, I want to see you. For real." My heart froze. That was it. The game was about to end. I stared at the phone screen for about 10 minutes. His message still there, waiting for a response. "Ava, I want to see you. For real." And me, paralyzed. For the first time, I realized the size of the trap I had created for myself. It wasn't just a fake profile. It was a fake relationship. But the feelings, they were real. And that was the most confusing part. I spent the night without sleeping. I turned over all the possibilities in my head. Tell the truth, disappear, make up an excuse. The next day, I sent a short message. "I'm not ready to meet. I'm sorry." He took a while to respond. And when he did, it was direct. "I understand, but please, don't disappear." That sentence destroyed me. I knew how much he had been hurt in the past. He had told me about an ex who disappeared, without saying anything. And now, even without knowing it, he was about to experience that again. Because of me. That week, everything started to crumble. My grades dropped. I hid at school. I avoided friends. And worse, I started to lose myself in that character. What was real? What was made up? Was it Ava he loved? Or was it me in an English class? The teacher assigned a writing prompt. Write about a lie that changed your life. And I froze. I wrote as if I was telling it to myself. Each word felt like tearing something inside me. But in the end, I put the paper on her desk and left the room shaking. The next day, the teacher called me. "Lily, can I talk to you for a minute?" I thought I was going to get scolded, but no. She just said, "I don't know if this story is yours, but if it is, you're very brave, and it's still time to do the right thing." That echoed in my mind all day. Do the right thing, but what if it was too late? After the conversation with the teacher, something started to change. For the first time, I didn't just want to keep the lie going. I wanted to get out of it, but I didn't know how. I started thinking about everything Ethan had told me, about how he felt like a stranger in his own home after his parents divorced, about how he used music as a safe place, about the fear of trusting someone and getting hurt again. I knew that if I told the truth the wrong way, I wouldn't just lose him. I'd prove that he was right not to trust people. So I decided that before revealing everything, I needed to prepare. I needed to be someone he could trust, even after the truth. I started with myself. I took the writing prompt paper and rewrote it as a letter. Not as Ava, as Lily. I wrote everything. How I felt invisible. How I created that profile to feel heard. How he was the first person who really saw me, and how something that started as a lie turned into the most real part of my life. But I still wasn't ready to send it. Not yet. In the following days, I did something I had never done. I started working on my English, for real. Yes, the same English I pretended to know in my messages with Ethan. Started from the basics. I learned how to say things about myself with confidence. I practiced in front of the mirror. I watched videos on YouTube with English subtitles and repeated everything out loud. I learned expressions I could use to tell my story without hiding. Phrases like, "I need to be honest with you. I was afraid you wouldn't like the real me. Everything I told you, that was real." Little by little, I started to feel like I was becoming the person I pretended to be. Not in terms of appearance, but in confidence. And then one day, he sent another message. "Ava, I don't know why, but lately you feel distant." I took a deep breath. It was time. I replied with a simple message. "Can I send you something? But I need you to read it with your heart, not your eyes." He just replied, "Of course." I sent the letter, signed as Lily, with my real name and my real photo. After that, silence. 2 days. 3, 4. My heart felt like it was going to explode every time my phone vibrated. And it was never him. But on the 5th day, a notification. "Hey, Lily, can we talk? Hey, Lily, can we talk?" My heart almost stopped when I read that message. I sat on the bed, took a deep breath, and typed, "Yes, whenever you're ready." 2 minutes later, my phone rang. It was a video call from him. For a second, I hesitated, but I answered. The image appeared. He was there, with the same expression as always, but with his eyes different, serious, silent. We stayed silent for a few seconds, until he said in a quiet voice, "So, you're Lily." I nodded. "Yes, I'm sorry I didn't tell you before." He didn't respond immediately. He looked away, then returned his gaze to me. "Why?" That's all he said. Not, "Why did you lie?" Just, "Why?" Simple, direct, painful, and I answered, with everything. No script, no rehearsal. I told him how I felt erased, invisible, how he was the first person to make me feel real, and how everything I told him, all the conversations, laughter, secrets, was true, even if the name and photo weren't. He listened, in silence, without interrupting, and that by itself said a lot. When I finished, he took a deep breath. "You know, I'm hurt. Of course I am. But also, he paused, thought, I get it. I really do. That took me by surprise. You do. He nodded. I know what it's like to want to be someone else, to feel like the real you isn't enough. I've felt that way most of my life. In that moment, I realized, even with all the pain, he understood, because deep down, we were both trying to be accepted. In the wrong ways, maybe, but for very human reasons. He continued, I don't know what happens next, but I'm glad I finally met you, the real you. I smiled, for the first time, without fear. Thank you. There were no guarantees, no promises, but there was something new. Truth. After that conversation, things changed. Not the way it happens in movies, where everything magically gets resolved. We didn't start dating the next day. It wasn't an immediate, happy ending, but it was a real beginning. Ethan and I kept talking, little by little, without rushing. Now, as Ethan and Lily, no masks, no lies. Some days he needed space. Other days, he'd send messages saying, I'm still here, and that was enough. I started showing up more as myself. At school with my friends. Even on social media. English also became something else. Before, it was a barrier. Now, it was a bridge. I started learning with eagerness, not to seem like someone, but to express myself better, as who I am. I learned how to say simple things with confidence. I feel nervous, but I want to try. This is who I am, and that's okay. And every day I felt more in control of my own story. If you're watching this now, maybe you felt like this too. Afraid of not being enough, wanting to hide behind another version of yourself. But let me tell you something I've learned. The right people won't fall in love with your appearance. They'll connect with your truth. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You just need to be real. If you liked this, subscribe to the channel and don't miss the next story. Remember, every little practice makes a difference. Don't give up. You're doing great.